Alright, picking up where we left off on that, I don't know if it recorded, but this, all the ductwork coming in here, the radiator field's got to be out far enough. This is going to come something like so. But that's why this thing's so far out and up, just to clear all that. Another thing in here, this is the rear hood hinge. You go up there something like that. That goes right there about like that. That's your hinges there. Everything's got to clear that. Engines in, as we talked about, the brake lines and hydraulic lines. This is a company called Technofit out of Indianapolis, Indiana. DOT approved. You're not going to be able to see it, but all this is DOT approved hydraulic lines. A little over $100 for all the hydraulic lines in this car. If anybody's ever priced them, they know that the whips that just go from right here on all four corners is about $20. So you're at $80 to get that much hydraulic line. This includes the whips. $100 total. I'm way happy with that. What else we got going here? Oh, got a stack of stuff up here. I'll show you some things. These are the two pieces of lighter colored material that's going in to replace that dark piece that I ripped out. Like so and like so, you get the idea. I want to show you something kind of cool here. This is a handy dandy. You notice everything, all the wiring that is done is in loom. Show you a really cool little tool right here to put this loom in. This is a nice $2 tool. That goes in there like so. Your wires go in here like so. That, twist around to hold the wires in, and you pull that like that, and all those wires go into that loom like that. Way handy little deal. If you've ever tried to put this stuff on, this will save your fingers. We'll talk about cables and so forth. The push-pull cables, like the shifter are, you've got to push and pull those, and those are Morse cables. Those are coming from Cablecraft, somebody like that. But you've got cables, you've got a throttle cable, you've got brake cables, you've got hood and trunk release cables, all kinds of cables. Azusa Engineering, Azusa, California. If you've ever looked at go-kart parts at Northern Tool, it's Azusa. They specialize in go-karts. They've been around for 50, 60 years. Guys I dealt with there 30 years ago finally retired from Azusa. But they are the people on cables and so forth. There's two different main types of cables. There's 7-on-7 and 1-on-19. 7-on-7 means it's 7 strands of cable in 7 bundles. 1-on-19 is 1 strand of cable bundled to 19. 1-on-19 is a lot stronger. The other one's a lot more flexible. But you can get a cable in various lengths. You can get the ball on the end of it. You can buy the cable itself in bulk and cut it to whatever you need, and you can make your own cables for very, very cheap. If you need to, a company called Loos, L-O-O-S, has equipment to swage your own balls and do some things. One thing they do is they have a lanyard type deal that will loop the end of it. I thought I had one in here, but I guess not. But anyway, those lanyard type deals are sometimes handy for door cables for your door pulls. They're real handy for race cars for lanyards for your disconnects on your hood, or your lanyards for your hood pins. I'll show you one thing on this. All of these have a ball end. This is like a $2 cable right here. This is a emergency brake cable. You can see one of them's hooked up here. I've already started kind of laying that out to get an idea. That's going to go up to the emergency brake release. Most of these cables have balls on them. This right here is a 50-cent part that is a barrel adapter. Goes on like so. Whoops. Goes on like so. Goes down. Goes over the ball. Now then, goes in and turns and hooks, and there is your emergency brake cable. This right here, another 50-cent piece from Azusa. There's your adjuster right there that's going to go on the sheath. But this set of cables right here will be a couple of $100 from Locar. Azusa's got all this kind of stuff, real handy and cheap. Show you one other thing here. We talked about this Hayco stuff and these plugs that were used extensively on this thing, the weatherproof plug. When you're putting a cable through here, that's a wood bit. It's got prongs on either end of this, and this idea works great on thin sheet metal. Use a wood bit on sheet metal because it cuts from these prongs, not the inside, and it won't make an irregular hole. It'll make a perfectly round hole in a thin piece of sheet metal or aluminum. But let me show you here what it does. When you're trying to cut a hole in that with a regular bit, it's not going to do much. Let's see if I can do this. Do this. Get it to do it this time. There it goes. Got the hole cut there. There's the center of it right there. And I have a hole cut in this thing. Started this with 100 pieces. I'm down to about 10, maybe 20 pieces. We've used those all over the place. Another handy dandy tool. It always starts on the second try. 1 try, 2 tries, 3 tries. A little propane torch. That works great for all the shrink wrap on your wiring harness. These are a couple of my uprights. I haven't cleaned them up since they've been welded. These are welded since I don't have overlap stuff to glue them and strengthen them. But you can see one of them's in right here. See what this upright looks like. This arm right here. This is a rear one. This is the piece that situates the 6-piston caliper right. This is a piece that situates the emergency brake right, and I just used a CNC machine to machine down the thicknesses of those to align them perfectly where I wanted them. The front and the back one looks the same way. The front one just doesn't have the emergency brake piece on it. But these use a Corvette C5, C6, whatever it is. We're going to talk extensively about all that assembly back there a little later on. I'm going to do a whole video on that, but you can see this right here. You can see this right here. Again, the rod end supply with the Teflon impregnated, permanently lubed pieces. That goes right there, sets the toe on the rear. That's setting at ride height right now. At ride height, these are 5-inch shocks, and you got 2.5 inches of stroke right here. I want to go back and look at this stuff that we looked at earlier. We talked a little bit about the tubing that went into this. That's cut on a plain old joint notcher. The notches that were made into this is just a Harbor Freight joint jigger on the drill press over here. But I built this piece right here on the CNC machine. That funny looking deal right there is the jig for building all the A-arms. Let's come around here. The pieces, these are the spuds that go in the end that hold the rod ends. But what you do is you put the piece in here, you put the spud in it, you torque that down, and this is the top A-arm side here, holds all the top A-arms perfectly in place. You TIG weld them up. This is the rear A-arm side here. These are for the front and the rear style here, but all of that is my jig for building A-arms. The funny looking holes in the middle here are so I can visually align what bar goes where. what tab goes where, some stuff like that. And these tabs, as we talked before, that's A&A manufacturing. That's a $2 or $3 part. You see they use it extensively on all my A-arm stuff. One thing I found pretty cool on the A-arms, these little tabs right here are also A&A products that comes down, catches this bar. And they were available with or without a 3/4 inch hole in them. And I said, a 3/4 inch hole, that's the idea of my Hako plugs. So I did that just to make it look cool, but all that's totally exposed. The bodywork of the car does not come down. That's what that's going to look like from the rear. How much time we got left?
It's at 10 and a half.
Okay.
Almost 11.
All right. Let me think if there's anything else I want to tell you all about. See, we went into the cables, went into the brake lines. We're going to do a whole deal about A-arms, about A-arm geometry, about the axles, about the C5 versus C6 hub. If you go to a C6 hub, the industry standard has been the C5, which has got like 30 splines. C6 has got 29, whatever. And that couple of splines makes a big difference on what's available for axles. We're going to get extensively into that later. Hoses all lined up well, everything's good, mechanical fuel pump. I'm way happy with the way everything's lined out, way happy with being able to get to stuff and work on stuff. All these seat belts. These seat belts are, there's several companies that sell those. It's just a typical belt. They've got the DOT, SAE, whatever it is, rating on them. Seat belts are a common item. It took a little bit of design work to get the mounts where this perfectly lines up with this and everything, but a little bit of forethought on that laid that out extremely well. Only thing I have to say about seat belts is back in about 91, 92 during Desert Storm, when the military commissioned all the nylon webbing in the world, it was damn hard to build a race car and get it out the door. There wasn't any nylon webbing to be had in the world. You couldn't put seat belts, you couldn't have window nets, you couldn't buy anything for that. But those days are behind now. Seat belts are a fairly common item, and this is the type that goes until it's pulled hard and it locks like that. I think we've talked enough. Is it what's the second or third video tonight?
Third, I think.
That's plenty enough.
Okay.
All right. Let's call that one.